Welcome back to this special 50th anniversary edition of Today on this Monday morning, January the 14th, 2002. And to the strains of the 1952 Les Paul Mary Ford hit Bye Bye Blues. That's a look at our neighborhood here in Rockefeller Plaza as it appeared when Today first went on the air 50 years ago this morning. And things look a little bit different. And they look a little bit different inside Studio 1A. I'm Katie Couric, along with Matt Lauer.
And as a matter of fact, if you look outside, we've gathered some of the classic cars of the era here, along with some of the great folks who are starting their morning with us for our birthday bash. It's always great to see them. Nice to see them in color, as opposed to back in 1952.
And there are some of those great cars from back in the early 50s. Wouldn't you want to drive around in one of those today? You'd create quite a scene, Matt.
Top down, back of the pickup truck.
Saying, hey, baby, want to drag?
Exactly.
Those are really cool. Anyway, we have some more special guests to help celebrate our golden anniversary. You know, we've been showing some of the highlights, but over the years, we've had some moments that, frankly, we're less than proud of. And on this special day, we hope to make amends. Here to help our Kermit the Frog.
Hey there,
Hello,
guys.
Kermit. How are you?
Hi there. Happy 50.
Thank you so much.
Happy 50.
Yes.
And Miss Piggy as well.
I'm
Hello,
sorry,
Miss Piggy.
hello, dear Matthew, Katerina. I'm fine.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm so sorry you ran that tasteless tape.
You know, I just want to apologize right now. I don't know what got into me, Miss Piggy. Truth is, I've always admired you for bringing home the bacon. Oh!
Uh-oh.
You know, she said she was going to
Here we
make
go
up,
again.
and it doesn't seem as if she's turned over a new leaf to me.
She's a very bitter person.
It's true. I've never strangled you. I want to mention that. We've kissed.
We've done other things.
We've kissed.
Listen, I don't want to hear about your personal lives, really. This is a family show,
I
Miss
just have
Piggy.
one question for both of you. How does it actually feel to be on one television show for 50 years of your lives?
No. Piggy. No. They haven't actually been here the whole time.
Oh.
No.
Oh, so they're not... Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
I apologize. I thought...
Yes,
You know
yes.
what? I watch the Today Show every single day. You know what? First thing I do in the morning?
What?
First of all, I nudge Kermit awake.
Oh, no. As I say, here we go again.
And it's difficult. He wears his blindfolds to sleep.
Yeah, why would that be, do you think? Why exactly?
Careful,
Because you
Kermit.
can't close your eyes.
I'm so glad I'm over here.
Well, I have to tell you, in all seriousness, you
Yes,
all
dear.
are our favorite guests, or two of our favorite guests through
that's
the
sweet.
years.
You know, I was checking...
Wait. You said our favorite guest, and you said two of our favorite guests. What happened?
you
We
are our
downgraded
favorite guest.
immediately. We went downhill immediately.
We misspoke.
Okay.
I was just going to say, you know, we've been on the show over 100 times.
Yes.
It was
Wow.
January of 1960 was our
Not
first
us,
show.
but the Muppets.
And I
Yes,
want to,
yes, the Muppets.
the Muppets, as you say, and I want
The
to
Muppets.
say congratulations to you all. You'll turn the big 50 in the year
No.
2005, I understand.
What?
Oh my gosh, wait. Miss Piggy, Kermit? Somebody's in...
Oh, my goodness.
What is
Oh my
this?
gosh,
Soccer.
who is that?
Piggy, hi,
It's
Kermit.
Rosie.
It's me. Hi,
She
how
looks
are
like she's
you?
in an aquarium.
I've been here like 40
My
minutes.
goodness.
I don't know what happened.
Do not feed the animals.
I know.
Hi, Rosie.
I'm just here to say happy birthday and
We can't hear her,
anniversary,
can
and
we?
I have a show
No, we
now, but I
can't
love
hear her.
everyone there.
Oh, Rosie,
well,
thank
thank
you
you.
for coming by.
And I think Al's going to chat with you in just a second. You're sweet to stop by. Thank you very much.
Donuts. Go ahead. Finish.
Thank you, Rosie, so much.
Kermit, Miss Piggy, thank you
Yes.
very much for your visit. Thanks for the nice wishes and helping us celebrate our 50th
You're welcome.
anniversary.
You're welcome.
Thank
Yes,
you
yes.
so
Appreciate
much.
it. One
Thank
more
you.
time.
50 more, right?
Thank you. Yes,
Yes,
we
yes.
hope so.
Yes.
Piggy,
Yes, dear. Easy. Yes.
let's let bygones be bygones, okay? Friends?
Yeah.
Bye, Kermit.
Thank
nice
you.
to
Bye-bye.
see
Good to see you both.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Coming up in this half hour, we'll take you back to 1952 and give you an idea of how the world of today opened a window on the world 50 years ago.
That's right,
Wow.
and we're going to have a visit from some women who are part of the history of this program. Believe it or not, Miss Piggy, they were called Today Girls, and you probably know some of them. Florence Henderson, Estelle Parsons, Lee
Sure.
Meriwether,
Sure.
and Betsy Palmer. Today's
Oh,
Girls.
Betsy.
The
Yeah.
Noive, huh?
No.
Anyway.
Yep.
They're all women today.
That's right.
Times have changed. First,
Yes, they
let's get a
have.
check of the weather from Al.
Today's weather is brought to you by America's Egg Farmers and the incredible edible egg.
You know, we would have had you in the studio, but Miss Piggy locked the door.
You know, that's what I... Frankly, but they had me begging about 40 minutes before I was supposed to. I looked like I escaped from a hospital or something.
We had called security and everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
You've been on the show a lot, and it's been a big party. I know you grew up here in New York. The Today Show's a big deal for you, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I've been watching it since I was a kid. I remember my mom used to watch it every morning, and it's a great show every day. I walk past all the crowd here and see them as I go to work, and it's a wonderful tradition here in the country.
Well, we thank you for being such a good friend of the show. We
Good to
appreciate
see
it.
you, Al.
Alrighty.
Happy birthday.
All right, thanks a
I
lot.
gotta
Rosie
go.
O'Donnell,
Bye.
she's got a show to do. All right, let's check your weather, see what's going on, and we'll show you that basically what we're looking at for today. We got wet weather in the southeast, Gulf Coast, also a lot of snow in the central Great Lakes, rain in the northwest. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods. That's your latest weather. Now here's Matt.
All right, Al, thank you very much. As everyone knows by now, the Today Show premiered 50 years ago today in 1952. But what was the world like back then? We asked our national correspondent, Jamie Gangel, to take a look at the year 1952. Hi, Jamie. Good morning. Happy anniversary.
Matt, thank you. Good morning. There was a lot happening in history. We had a new queen, we had a new president, and many now historic figures were just starting their careers. So we took a look at life back then.
With World War II over, it is the height of the baby boom.
The most beautiful girl in the world picks my ties out, she eats my candy, she drinks my brandy. Most beautiful girl in the world.
In fact, there is a boom in almost everything. Cars and sock hops are big, so is Frank Sinatra.
Most beautiful girl in the world.
A postage stamp is 3 cents, the average salary $3,900, and the suburbs are exploding. A 3-bedroom house costs $9,000. On the breakfast table, Tony the Tiger makes his debut.
Great!
Along with Gleam to wipe out the inevitable cavities, and the newest laundry detergent to take care of the spills.
That's right, Martha Wright. There has been a change in cheer.
From Natchez to Mobile, from Memphis to St. Joe, wherever.
People are also taking to the road. Holiday Inn opens its first motel, and for the first time, you can get there in a car with air conditioning, perhaps New Jersey Turnpike. And according to historian David McCullough, himself then a student at Yale University, 1952 is also the dawn of consumerism.
Everything was increasing since the war in material abundance in the country. It was a time of wonderful new ideas, new products. There were jobs. We were really on an upswing.
I wonder what they'll do in 1952.
It is also an important year politically. Riding the crest of his wartime popularity, a former general is elected president.
They like Ike.
Across the pond, a princess becomes queen.
I walked down the street like a good girl should. He followed me down the street like I knew he would be.
And a dashing young couple are both in the news separately. John F. Kennedy is the new senator from Massachusetts. Jackie Bouvier is engaged, but to the wrong guy. She breaks it off and marries the right one.
You are about to hear a report from Senator Richard Nixon.
It is also the year Richard Nixon gives his checkers speech, defending himself against accusations of financial impropriety.
I should say this, that Pat doesn't have a mink coat, but she does have a respectable Republican cloth coat. And I always tell her that she'd look good in anything.
Other newsmakers in 1952, in science, Jonas Salk becomes a hero for the polio vaccine. In sports, the Yankees do what they do so well, win the World Series over the Dodgers, then still in Brooklyn.
I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus.
And in music, at the top of the charts, the #1 hit is a Christmas classic, while everyone thinks that doing this is cool.
You wore khaki pants, which are still around, and white shoes, which were supposed to be dirty white shoes.
Unforgettable.
And it is the dawn of television, if you have one. Everyone watches the same few shows, the most popular still classics. Two Guys Named Jack, one a bus driver, one a cop, and 2 comedians, one who never stops talking, one who only says meep, meep. And of course, the familiar sound of these chimes saying it's time to start your day.
That was Ed McMahon, and for the record, none of us were born in 1952.
Thank you for straightening that out. Jamie, thanks so much. We appreciate it. We're back with much more right after these messages.
There's more of today's 50th anniversary when we come back. Remembering the Today Girls.
Today's 50th anniversary moment is brought to you by Royal Caribbean. Get out there and take a Royal Caribbean vacation.
It's difficult to believe sitting here in the year 2002, but in the early days, some of our most valuable players were actually called Today Girls. They included actresses, models, and even a Miss America. They did weather and fashion segments and, at times, important interviews. And each of them went on to successful careers in movies, television, and the stage as well. Among the famous faces that graced America's TV screens are Estelle Parsons, who was here at the very beginning, Lee Merriweather, Florence Henderson, and Betsy Palmer. Good morning to all of you. It is so great to see you all. I have to say, looking great as ever. Estelle, I know that you were here. First of all, you were hired as a production assistant.
Yeah.
You were never a so-called Today Girl,
no, I was
were
here
you?
Before Dave was. There were 8 of us who put it together. It was my first job in New York. In fact, I only came to visit from Marblehead, Massachusetts. And I got this job, and there were just 8 of us. And we were auditioning Henry Morgan, Gary Moore, Dave Garraway, all these people.
And you
finally
actually
settled on Dave. So I was a production assistant, and I was doing at that time features, all kinds of features, calling people. Did they want their books on? Did they want, all that stuff.
And you were the first female political reporter
I
back in
was.
those days. So,
I was.
I mean, that was very impressive for the 50s.
We were in this thing like here, only, it was much smaller, and we were walking around. And Dave came to me one day and said, you wrote this book review, why don't you do it on the air?
He sounds like he was a great guy in that way.
So that's how I went
a real
in the
equal opportunity person, wasn't he?
I
Some of the time.
So. I think he was just trying to make a good show.
And he'd have a chimp do it if necessary, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was morning television. Nobody thought it would last. I think that's how I got a job on it. I just came out of Marblehead. What did I know about TV?
I know that you
And the people who were on TV really didn't want to be on it because they thought it wouldn't last. I was in London when they started morning TV. It was the same way. People said, this won't last. Nobody will watch it in the morning. I said, wait.
There's a funny story when you interviewed Eleanor Roosevelt. She was quite elderly.
Yeah.
And something bad happened during that interview.
What?
She fell asleep.
Oh, wow.
During the interview?
That wasn't bad.
Well, she was very old. She died shortly thereafter. And
it was a thrill, actually, I'm sure, for you to get a chance to meet her face to face.
I had known her before. She
really?
Was the first, I came to a political convention, to a meeting in New York and met her. She was the first, Eleanor Roosevelt. And so I walked up to her and I said, I'm Estelle Parsons, and I waited for her to be effusive over me, and she was waiting for me
to be effusive over her.
Eleanor Roosevelt, and I was just standing there.
I was going to say, you both did a lot of waiting then.
I learned.
Lee Merriweather, I know that you got a job, offered a job shortly after you were crowned Miss America.
Yes.
You were called on the road, and someone said, hey, do you want to be a part of the Today Show, right?
Exactly that, in the middle of Penn Station. I got a page and the phone call, and they said, would you be interested? And I said, but I can't. I'm touring America and South America and Canada.
So how did you work it out?
After the migraine, after the year was over. And I said, could I just have a month afterwards to sleep, please? And just so a little bit.
And what were your duties here on the show?
Well, I was officially billed the first woman's editor on the air. And so I would do all the women's features, fashion shows, news bent toward women.
You got some pretty cool interviews, though, Lee. I know you interviewed Marlon Brando one time, which was pretty exciting. He was kind of shaken because
it was the premiere of Guys and Dolls, and you have the footage. Oh, how wonderful! I'm thrilled.
Look at you too.
He was so nervous. His hand shook, and I said, "What's the matter?" I forgot that I was interviewing him, and he said a woman had just pushed her hand through the window of his cab.
Oh my, you mean through the glass?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And he was very upset about
Bad
that.
for the arteries.
Quite nervous about it.
You also got to be quite friendly with J. Fred Muggs.
Oh, yes.
And,
Dave and I.
And you said he was more like, he was more like a little kid, right?
He really was. Look, I mean, we had great fun together.
He bit me.
Well, actually, we're not going to get into that, Estelle.
Sorry.
Actually, it was my fault when it happened. But no, he was incredible. This little person,
chimpanzee.
He really was a little person, though. I mean,
yeah.
dressed and
Kokomo
everything.
was too.
But on the plane, you mentioned the plane. He was sitting there, and I could see him through because I sat in front of him and watched him. And the plane took off, and it banked into the sun, and he reached up and pulled the blind down.
And then he said, "Can I have some peanuts and Coke?" Betsy, you had 2 jobs when you were here on this program. When
Did
you were
I?
So-called Today Girl, right? In addition to the Today Show, you were a panelist on I've Got a Secret,
Oh,
right?
and I've Got a Secret, yeah.
So you were
and
one busy
theater,
girl.
Too. Yes, that's true.
And
Always have loved to be, too.
The Today
Yes.
Show really opened a lot of doors for you, I know.
Well,
you felt.
actually, I've Got a Secret, which I did for 11 years, opened many, 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 many doors. And I think it was because of being on Secret that they probably had me on the Today Show. And that's why I left the Today Show, was because I wanted to be an actress. And it was bad enough being associated with a game show, to be doing this other. And it was just, I could really tell that it really was going to be a full-time job, and I just wanted to act.
You had a very funny story where you were interviewing the author of a book, and the producer, for some unknown reason, told the author of the book that you didn't like the book at all. So what happened on the air?
I'll tell you what, it was Rona Jaffe, and she had written a book called All I Want Is Everything. And the gal who had put the spot together, I was saying to her, because I brought the book in the next morning, and I said, I really didn't get through this. I said, first of all, I said, this is really a mess. I really don't like this book a lot. So just as the red light went on, when Rona and I were sitting there, she said, I hear that you really hate my book. And I said, and I always tell the truth, at least I try. I said, well, to tell you the truth, it really was not my cup of tea. And I said, and I really didn't even get through it all last night. And I said, I just have to be honest that there are other kinds of literature that I prefer.
And she ended up being pretty nice about it and saying
Yes,
she appreciated when someone spoke the truth.
And we became really nice, not friends, but certainly acquaintances.
So much for I've Got a Secret, right? Meanwhile, Florence, tell me a little bit about your experience working here. What do you most remember about it, Florence?
Well, I did everything. I most remember that I got pregnant on the show. Not on the show.
Now that would be groundbreaking television.
You didn't know Dave had it in him, did you? No, but that was my boldest memory, and the fact that they didn't want me to use the word pregnant. Try not to say that word.
Right, and they covered you. I mean, they took great pains to put potted plants, anything that would cover your belly.
Yeah, I sang behind
and wasn't
furniture.
there a lot of fan mail that would come in that were all upset about it?
I remember
with Helen O'Connell too.
One saying, "How dare you sit up there in your hatching jackets?" And I never forgot that letter.
Well, may I say, we've come a long way, baby, haven't we? Anyway, it's so great to see you all, and thank you so much for coming by to help us celebrate and sharing some of your memories on this program with us.
Thank you, Katie.
Anyway, we'll be back with more of this very special 50th anniversary edition of Today right after these messages.
We just want to let you know you can purchase a VHS version of selected highlights of today's 50th anniversary by calling 1-800-420-2626.
Dial now. Operators are standing by. Still to come on today, more Today Show alumni. But first, these messages and your local news.